talk about what's going on. And so I'd like to remind you that in 1979, 9th Street had just been widened by the city. And the Bosworth House, which is the house that's over here on Buchanan Street right behind us, ended up sitting pretty much at the curb on 9th Street, for those of you that remember back then. And the building was scheduled to be either demolished or somehow removed. Our business at the time was looking for a new location, and so we came over to this particular site over here, which was a newly developed 5-lot subdivision. And we bought the site where the Bosworth House sits right now. And we had contracted with Gary Day, for some of you may remember Gary Day, to design us a new office building for over there. That's what we were thinking was new office building. And so he was working on that design when the owner of the parcel that we're on right now and the site of the Bosworth House came to me and said, hey, why don't you guys just buy that building and move it to your new site? And I thought, well, that seemed really like a good idea at the time. And so we stopped the construction and the design of the building on the site behind us. And we contracted with LeBeck and Sons movers out of Portland. And they were a long time experienced moving people. No problem, right? And so we hired them to come and move that building. And our idea was to move it directly back to about the corner where Mark is standing right now, and make a quarter turn and move it straight forward to where it sits now. And that's a very large building.
Yes.
And so it took them several months to do this. But on August 6th, 1979, I was standing out there on the roadway, watching them get ready to start to move that house. And what they had done was they had severed the building from its foundation, leaving just the basement there. And they had placed on the ground large, and I mean large steel rods, oh, probably 12, 15 feet long. Sort of like they moved the rocks and stones and pyramids. It's the same principle. And so they had wrapped wrapped the severed house with cable, and they had a big truck sitting out there. And the cable ran from the house to the truck, through a winch to the truck. And so big moving day, I'm all excited. And so I'm standing there, and as the cable started to tighten, you can see what the problem's going to be, can't you already? As the cable starts to tighten and the winch starts to move, suddenly the winch fails. And the teeth on the winch had broken. The building goes back over the foundation of the house, hits the other wall of the foundation, and traffic on 9th Street stopped. Masonry, bricks, everything you can imagine simply went flying. Oh my gosh. But what you don't know is that when they had been stabilizing that house, preparing it for moving, they had placed railroad ties underneath in the basement, up so high for the house to sit on. Well, as that building went crashing back into the foundation, that stability went flying against the walls of the basement. There were 3 men under that house.
Oh,
came out rather pale looking. And I think their whole opinion of survival had changed. They had a different take on life after that. I cannot believe they survived. It's absolutely a miracle. Anyway, we continued to move that building after we determined that it was capable of being moved. We moved it up here, we turned it, like I said, we moved it over to the new site, and that building was completely redone in preparation for putting it on the National Historic Registry. It was put on the National Historic Registry on December 8th, 1982, and remains so till today. So when we got that house all put together, you folks all came out, we had a big ribbon, and we did a ribbon cutting. So that was a especially wonderful day when you all were there. We ultimately grew out of that building in about 3 years and built this one. You guys all came back again and did another ribbon cutting. We thank you. Are there any questions?
Don?
Yeah, so that was a cool story. Was it a good return on investment to do all the moving? Only be there 3 years?
Well, we owned it for longer than that, but we weren't in it ourselves for that long. No, it really wasn't very good, because at the time that we contracted with Lebec & Son, one of the questions I had for them was, now you do have insurance that covers in case there's any damage, don't you? And there was a nod of the head, just like that, and indeed they did not. Oh my. Oh my.
So how long have you owned Lebec & Son?
I can tell you when the city of Corvallis went to move the train station down on the route to the river, I went over there and I parked because I thought, I'm going to watch this. And I became immediately nauseated and left. Yeah. Other questions?
Thomas?
Where was the location previous to this?
To this?
Yeah.
To us moving into that?
Correct, yeah.
Down 9th Street, where the women's club was for many years, next to the cannery. That's where we were before we moved. So we've grown out of that house. Do you
Sam?
remember that? Yeah.
What year did you guys start this business is kind of a question. And then I always like to ask this question, what sets your business apart from the other businesses that are doing similar work in our town?
We started the business in 1973. We became Coal Banker in 1983. And what sets us apart probably is the national recognition that Coal Banker brings us. That is a worldwide organization. It's all over the world. And so it's not unusual for us to receive, referral business from people who are coming in, say, especially when HP was very, very active, we'd have a lot of, people coming in from out of the
Amy?
Well, as a nonprofit, I'm always curious, what kinds of community activities are employees encouraged to take part in? Is there volunteer activities that are encouraged? Or?
Well, we always encourage our agents to be active in the community. That's a foregone conclusion. And each of them, I encourage them to take the opportunity to affiliate with an organization in town that has an interest for them, that they're really interested in. It may be something as simple as working with autistic children. It may be something, I know I have a picture in our photo album of this room literally filled with gifts that we loaded into our vehicles and ran all over the place delivering. And so we don't have one particular organization that we work with exclusively, and we encourage people to work with the kind of interest that they have.
Very cool. If there are other questions, you can feel free to get her after the program.
Yeah, I have one photograph I'll share with people after the program.
Oh, excellent. Do you have a question of the day for us?
Yes, I do. Lebec & Son made an estimate, as our engineer did, of what that building weighed.
Oh my God.
was a brick and stucco building. What is What did that building weigh, given that you know that it's a brick and stucco building?
Awesome. Let's start with Becky.
Exactly.